If you have statistics that are out there today, does anybody know what the number or the percentage of breaches are that are related to password or credential theft? 87%. So if you think about it as we have a significant issue which directly relates to passwords and how passwords are handled. And typically because that stuff gets pushed back to the end user, we ask them to do very unique things. They're complicated, they're burdensome, they create really a lot of friction with what the user's trying to go do. So the problem is I have to write them down. I can't use the same one over and over again. They need to be at least 12 characters, uppercase, lowercase, special character. We put this burden on the end user. And what we do as end users, we find the most easy way to work around that. So as humans, we work really well around problems. And so we've developed an innovative way to do a couple things. One, remove the user from having to think about that. So we want you to be able to use things like biometrics, face capture, swipe codes. Use your mobile device as an extension of you in the virtual world. So it becomes your key. It becomes your access to applications, systems, desktops, kiosks. It's the first step in trying to remove that burdensome process of remembering passwords on an ongoing basis. The second thing that we're doing is we're changing the flow. So hackers, bad people, malicious actors sit on your computer. They put malware on it. They install keyloggers. They maybe sit in the middle of the browser where when you transmit something through your online access, they're pulling that information out of the browser session. It's very easy in a lot of cases to get it, and it's the lowest hanging fruit. One of the things in my past, I worked for a company that we had a hacking team to help companies find out where their weaknesses were. And one of the things I've learned about hackers is they're extremely lazy because they're going to look for the lowest hanging fruit. How can I get the biggest payload at the least amount of time to be able to get information? So I don't want to waste my time getting to something that I don't know is there. So we've reversed that process where we don't send information through the actual computing platform. We reverse it so that the computer gives a small bit of information to the mobile device. It secures that into a packet, sends it to our cloud. The cloud exchanges that securely and then presents the session back to the end user. Thus, we remove keyloggers, malware. With our software development kit integrated with the application, we remove man-in-the-middle attacks and man-in-the-browser attacks. We do a lot of layers of authentication and things behind it that we can gain from the phone. One of the things I was told about a week ago is your smartphone knows more about you than your spouse or your best friend. And I would bet that most of you would probably agree with that. Two is you'll leave home without your wallet, but not many people will leave home without their phone. In fact, I heard of a game somebody told me earlier today as we play this game at parties, which is if you left your phone at home and you were halfway to the airport and you missed your flight, would you turn back around to grab your phone and try and get another flight, or would you just continue to the airport and leave your phone at home? I'd say in that game, most of the time as I get 100%, most people would turn back around and miss their flight to get their phone. So I think it's an important aspect of what we're talking about. And that mobile device, if you look at where Fast Identity Online is, FIDO, if you guys know the terms there, GSMA with the Mobile Connect, that mobile device should be and is an extension of you. And we're turning that into that and creating the bridge for companies to start to remove the password of something you need to know. Before I go into a quick demo, by a show of hands, how many people think that biometric is safer than password? Okay. What sits behind the biometric is a password. So while the biometric is secure, if you have an iPhone and use or your Samsung, it always defaults back to password. 4-digit code if your fingerprint doesn't get recognized. My laptop, if it doesn't recognize my face or doesn't recognize my fingerprint, it goes to username and password. The actual system in the back end is always username and password. It actually is a false sense of security that we take away with us in the industry today, which is that biometric is only a surrogate for the crappy password that you have on the back end that I can use to get into and expose your account or anybody else's account. So it's an important thing to remember is we're being given on the mobile device convenience, and you can get convenience or you can get security traditionally. We're giving you both. With our application, you get convenience and security because we're building layers of authentication by leveraging the mobile device. So I'm going to click in here. This is an example of our app opening up. I'm going to execute the software development kit. I'll scan the QR code. With that scan of the QR code, I'm now into a system. In that action that I just presented, I now have location of the user that was there. I get location. I get a hardened password, 24 characters to 48 characters. It's very unique. I don't need to know it. I can add in biometrics of your fingerprint. I can gain face capture at the same time. I can do geofencing. I can do date and time restrictions. I can build context around the user trying to get into the system. It's an assurance level of you are you, and I can start to move the ability for somebody to give away that password to somebody else intentionally or unintentionally. I validated the website that I went to, so I prevent phishing attempts as well. So I'm trying to take the user out of the aspect of making a mistake and allowing the smartphone to start to apply artificial intelligence to that login and who they are and where they are, so that we execute the right things on behalf of the user and allow them to give permission, but the mobile device then builds that aura, that context around that person as we go through. Simple, convenient. In that execution, I actually executed username, password. There was a second factor of authentication that was like a two-step verification. So I actually, instead of getting an SMS text message, my mobile device applied that on my own. We make things hard for everybody. So we want to make them hard for the bad guys, but we also make it hard for the guys who are supposed to get in. And the presence or the purpose of ours is intent, presence, and persistence, but most importantly, convenience to the end user. So Authomate we're an early company, early stage. We have our largest company, which is in New York City, which we signed a contract with about 3 months ago. We're in pilot with them on death and birth certificates for doctors' confirmation when they put those records into the system. And we're pushing that forward, and we're now moving out to look for more companies to come in and do either beta proof of concepts and work with us in innovation as they want to move forward. That is Authomate. Thank you.